If you were one of the millions of moviegoers who were electrified by the unbearable suspense and sheer terror of Jaws, get ready for Eaten Alive. Created by Tobe Hooper, maker of the screen sensation, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Marty Rustin presents a new horror classic, Eaten Alive. Into this house of terror comes a handful of unsuspecting innocents.
Hello?
What happens to these people in Eaten Alive will give you the most chilling, terrifying 90 minutes you ever spent in a theater. Marty Rustin presents Eaten Alive. Mel Ferrer, Carolyn Jones, Stuart Whitman, Neville Brand. Get ready for Eaten Alive, a new horror classic.
I always thought Tobe Hooper kind of got a raw deal. Yeah, he made some money in Hollywood, but I feel like other than Texas Chainsaw Massacre, that's the only movie that people remember him for. And the other one is Poltergeist. The people don't think he made it. I'm on the side that he did make it, but this isn't what this episode's about. This is about the follow-up to Texas Chainsaw Massacre, another film that examines the horror and depravity that exists within South Texas. Talking about 1997's Eaten Alive. Welcome to BNS About Movies. This is Sam. Texas Chainsaw Massacre co-writer Kim Henkel was inspired by Joe Ball, known as the Alligator Man, who owned a live alligator attraction in the 30s. Despite being suspected of several murders, legend had it that Ball would feed the dead women to his alligators. He started as a bootlegger before opening his sociable inn in Elmendorf, Texas, where he was surrounded by a pond where he charged people to watch him feed them live cats and dogs. After former girlfriends, barmaids, and even his wife went missing, 2 policemen tried to question him, pulled out a gun and shot himself, either in the head or the heart. That said, there are many that believe the stories about Joe Ball to be simply Texas folklore. He did exist, though. Working under the title Death Trap, this film is also known by several titles, which we'll get into. This entire movie was made on a soundstage, using the Raleigh Studios pool as a swamp. This enabled Hooper to create what he called a surrealistic Twilight world. True to form, issues with the producers took him away from the film before shooting ended, but he had a decent relationship with the actors. Cinematographer Robert Caramico finished the direction of the film once Hooper left. The film starts grimy and stays that way. Buck, in an early role, demands kinky sex from Clara Wood. Roberta Collins, who is Matilda the Hun in Death Race 2000, who refuses. The scene contains the line, "I'm Buck and I'm here to the line that Quentin Tarantino used in Kill Bill. No one says no in Miss Hattie's House of Women, and that's Carolyn Jones, who was once better known as Morticia Addams. Claire is kicked out, and one of the girls takes pity on her and gives her money to stay at the Starwood Hotel, a rundown motel in the swamp. There she meets the owner, Neville Brand, who was famous for playing Al Capone in the Untouchable TV series and starred in the George Raft story. We soon learn that Judd is pretty much insane. He attacks her, chasing into the swamp, where a now crocodile eats her. Don't get too attached to anyone here. Everybody is probably going to meet a bad end. A couple soon arrives, played by Marilyn Burns and William Finley. Marilyn Burns obviously is from Hooper's other movie, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and William Finley is from Winslow Leach from Phantom of the Paradise and a ton of other movies. But they're Faye and Roy. And they have their daughter, Angie, who is Kyle Richards, Lindsay Wallace from Halloween, and their dog, Snoopy. I'm warning you right now, I have a dog. I hate when dogs are attacked in movies. Don't get too attached to Snoopy. He is not long for this world. Angie finds a dead monkey and screams. The dog runs into the swamp, where he's soon eaten by the alligator. Roy goes to get the gator, but is stabbed by Judd. Then the insane motel owner ties Faye to the bed and tries to grab Angie, who hides under the porch of the building. Meanwhile, Harvey Wood, who's Mel Ferrer from The Visitor, The Antichrist, the first husband of Audrey Hepburn, arrives with his daughter Libby, looking for Clara. He's helped by Sheriff Martin, Stuart Whitman, and so many of my favorite movies. We could go on about Demonoid. He's going to help them as they search for Harvey's runaway daughter. Libby goes out with the sheriff while Harvey stays back at the hotel. As he finds Faye tied to the bed, he's also killed by Judd. The sheriff then kicks Buck out of the bar. Remember Buck from the beginning? And he goes right to the Starlight with his underage girlfriend. While they're making love, they hear a scream. Buck discovers Faye, but is pushed into the swamp, where he's soon eaten. Finally, Libby comes back and saves her sister and Angie. Judd goes insane and chases them to the swamp, where he's eaten by his own gator or crocodile. We're never sure. And that's our movie. It is a really strange film, again, because it was shot inside, and I'm really compressing it for this. None of these spoilers will ruin the movie for you. It is a Twilight world, a world that exists in its own dimension, I think because it was shot on a soundstage. And there was a lot of pressure on Hooper, and I really think this movie is a success, and it's never discussed as one. I've always joked that Rob Zombie is constantly trying to remake the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, and after watching this, I get the feeling that this is really the movie that he wants to make. It's covered in a layer of filth from beginning to end, with characters coming and going, people getting killed horrifically, and style triumphing over coherent plot. Even better, there's a mix of actors you instantly recognize playing great roles, particularly Neville Brand, whose muttering insanity in this is pure perfection. There's also a great electronic score that sets the mood, even ending in a crash after the final credits. True to his promise, Hooper delivers a film that feels like a nightmare throughout. Its dream logic makes for occasionally funny, often grotesque movie that's never boring. Speaking of never boring, there are a ton of titles for this movie. In West Germany, it was called Bloodlust, Brutes and Savages in other countries, Creepy Obsession in Colombia, Crocodile in Turkey, The Crocodile Death in France, Dead Trap in Spain, The Devil's Swamp in Japan, Eat Live in Romania, The Inn of Horror in Greece, The Jaws of the Crocodile, also in Greece, The Hotel Near the Swamp in Italy, which, God, I love that name, Horror Hotel Massacre, Death Trap, Legend of the Bayou, Murder on the Bayou, Slaughter Hotel, and Starlight Slaughter. I'm sure there's some more. I'm sure my friend Bill Van Vren from Groovy Doom and Drive-In Asylum knows even more titles. But if you haven't seen it, totally go out of your way to see it. I love Eating Alive, and I think more people should watch it. Anyway, this is Sam. Tune in next time for BNS About Movies, and until then, you can come to the site at bnsaboutmovies.com or send me an email at bnsaboutmovies@gmail.com.